Welcome back to Basement Integrity Podcast by Icerino.
It's good to be back.
If you joined us for our last deep dive on why foundations fail, you know just how critical that bedrock stability is to your home, really all year round.
And that stability, it really faces its toughest adversary when the temperatures start to drop.
Exactly. So today, we're shifting our focus to that immediate seasonal battlefield, keeping your basement warm and dry all winter.
Winter really is a unique stress test on a home's foundation. It threatens your comfort and, frankly, the structural integrity of your biggest investment.
For sure. So our mission in this deep dive is to cut through all the generic checklists out there. We've synthesized the most critical, actionable steps to give you a clear roadmap.
A roadmap for avoiding catastrophic cold weather damage. We're going straight for the fixes that give you the highest return on your effort.
Precisely. We aren't just summarizing, we're providing the necessary details for a proactive defense. And to do that, we have to start with the single greatest threat winter poses.
Okay, let's unpack this. What really happens when the water we try so hard to keep away, gets into those tiny hairline cracks?
Well, the primary culprit, and I'd say the most dangerous element of winter, is that relentless freeze-thaw cycle.
The freeze-thaw cycle.
Yeah. Water, unlike most liquids, it expands dramatically when it turns to ice. And it's not just a little bit. When water freezes inside a foundation crack, it exerts an unbelievable amount of pressure.
And we're talking what kind of numbers here?
Up to 25,000 pounds per square inch, PSI.
25,000. That is staggering. I mean, to put that in perspective, your standard residential concrete, it only has a compressive strength of what, maybe 3,000 to 5,000 psi?
Exactly. So the ice expansion is delivering 5 to 8 times the force needed to just break the concrete apart.
It's enough force to crack stone, let alone a tiny fracture that's already there in your foundation.
And the cycle just repeats, right? The temperature warms up, the ice melts, more water seeps in deeper.
And then it freezes again, and the pressure just compounds. This is exactly why addressing exterior vulnerabilities is your first line of defense. Has to be.
That makes immediate action just fuck. It's non-negotiable. So if a homeowner can only do one thing right now, before that really hard freeze sets in, should they focus on drainage or sealing?
That's a great question. And, I'd argue they really go hand in hand, but if I had to choose one, I would prioritize drainage.
Drainage, okay, why is that?
Because even if you seal every single crack, a massive accumulation of water will just find a new weak point, or it'll overwhelm the defenses you already have.
Okay, so let's talk drainage specifics. It sounds simple, clean your gutters, but what's the deep dive secret here?
The secret is volume and direction. First, clean the gutters thoroughly. Check for leaks, blockages. Make sure they can handle a heavy runoff from melted snow.
And then the downspouts.
Then look at your downspouts. They have to direct water a minimum of 6 to 10 feet away from the foundation. Using extensions is probably the cheapest insurance you can buy.
And what about the ground itself, the grading? This is something people overlook all the time, but it dictates everything.
It's absolutely critical. What we always tell people is that you need a minimum slope, what we call grade of 6 inches of drop, for every 10 feet away from your foundation.
So if the soil is sloping toward your house,
you're guaranteed to have issues, especially when a heavy snowfall melts. Even a slightly negative grade can pool water right up against the footing.
That's a practical, measurable goal, 6 inches over 10 feet.
Exactly. And don't forget those highly vulnerable points. The basement window wells, they basically act like little basins.
Oh, yeah.
They have to be clear of leaves, debris, and the window seals need to be intact. If they collect water and that freezes, you've just placed a destructive ice mold directly against your foundation.
Which brings us back to sealing the concrete itself. We know the pressure is immense. If we catch a small crack now, what material should we be using to make sure it holds up?
For those small, non-structural cracks on the exterior, you want materials that are flexible but also durable. Standard caulk just won't cut it.
So what's the pro-grade solution?
You want something specialized, like a polyurethane sealant. Or, even better for larger cracks, hydraulic cement.
Hydraulic cement? Why that specifically?
Well, it's formulated to expand slightly as it cures, creating this incredibly tight seal that actively resists water. And it sets super quickly, which is essential when you're battling low temperatures.
That's a huge piece of advice. Okay, so once we've deflected the water from the outside, the next battle is on the inside, keeping the space warm and dry.
Right, and this is where we shift focus from, structural integrity to preventing secondary damage. We're talking burst pipes and mold. Insulation here plays two key roles.
Retaining heat and preventing cold air from getting in.
Exactly. And the air sealing is usually the cheapest and fastest win. Before you even think about thermal panels, check your rim joists and any penetrations where utility lines or vents go through the wall.
That's where that sudden rush of cold air comes from. It drives up the heating bill and can drop the temperature near the wall so fast.
Precisely. And that rapid temperature drop leads directly to our biggest interior winter hazard, frozen pipes. Even if the basement is generally heated, those pipes running along an exterior wall or near a sill plate are incredibly susceptible.
I remember a client, their basement was warm enough, they thought, but the pipe to their outdoor spigot burst. The line wasn't drained and insulated right where it passed through the rim joist. The damage was just astronomical.
It happens way too often. And the detail here isn't just wrapping pipes in foam sleeves, though that helps. It's knowing when to use heat tracing or heat tape.
Okay, so when is heat tape the right call?
If you have any section of pipe that runs through an unheated space or right up against an exterior wall, heat tape is a crucial investment. It senses the temperature drop and warms the pipe automatically to prevent a catastrophic burst.
Beyond freezing, let's talk moisture. People think winter means dry air, but basements can still get damp. How do we stop mold?
We combat that with controlled dehumidification. Even with the furnace on, the ground is still cool and can push moisture vapor right through the concrete slab.
So you need to keep the relative humidity in a specific range. What's the magic number for winter?
For winter, we aim for between 30 and 50% relative humidity. Too low, and you risk drying out wood. Too high, and you're just creating a perfect breeding ground for mildew.
Got it. And if someone's running space heaters down there, what's the #1 safety rule?
Safety is paramount. Any heater has to be safe for a confined space. Avoid propane or kerosene heaters. They create moisture and, critically, carbon monoxide risk.
And with electric heaters?
They need to be rated for continuous use, kept far away from anything flammable, and plugged directly into the wall. Never, ever an extension cord. And a working carbon monoxide detector in the basement is non-negotiable.
Okay, let's move to emergency prep. The last line of defense against flooding, the sump pump. So often neglected.
It really is. If you rely on a sump pump, now is the time for a full checkup. Clean the pit, manually cycle the pump. But the most critical winter check is the discharge line.
That's where the water leaves the house. Why is that such a winter risk?
Because once that water's outside, it's exposed to freezing temperatures. If snow piles up around the exit or if the line itself freezes, the pump will run but have nowhere to send the water.
And it just burns out the motor.
Burns out the motor, or worse, just keeps pumping water back into the pit until the basement floods. You have to keep that line clear of ice and snow.
And that brings us to power outages, which are so common in winter storms.
Yeah, absolutely. If your pump only runs on house current, an outage means you have zero protection. We strongly recommend installing a reliable battery backup system.
How long can one of those last?
A good, well-maintained one can run a pump intermittently for up to 3 days. That buys you crucial time.
That's real peace of mind. Okay, let's wrap up by talking about the bigger investments for long-term protection. This is beyond the quick fixes.
Right. This is where a professional assessment is key. We're usually talking about two major solutions, professional waterproofing and foundational reinforcement.
Let's clarify a term for our listeners. What exactly are weeping tiles?
Weeping tiles, or a perimeter drain system, are porous pipes we install outside, right down at the foundation footing. Their job is to collect groundwater before it can push against your walls.
So it reduces that hydrostatic pressure.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
It reduces the amount of water available for that freeze-thaw cycle right where it matters most. It's a permanent defense mechanism.
And then there's underpinning. That sounds intense.
This is a major project, yeah.
Yeah.
Underpinning involves stabilizing and deepening the foundation down to more stable soil. While it's used for severe structural issues, it offers huge winter advantages.
How so?
It moves the foundation base below the typical frost line, the depth to which the ground freezes.
So you're protecting it from frost heave.
Exactly. Frost heave can destabilize a shallow foundation. Underpinning anchors the home more securely, and since it's often done with extensive waterproofing, it adds another powerful layer of defense.
So what does this all mean for you right now? The essential actions are pretty clear, broken down into 3 zones. First, combat that destructive freeze-thaw cycle with exterior sealing and superior drainage. Second, prioritize interior safety insulation, especially for pipes and humidity control. And third, be ready for the worst. Clean that sump pump, install a backup.
Taking these steps now is truly the most effective way to save yourself immense stress, time, and potentially six-figure repair costs down the line.
Absolutely.
This deep dive really highlights how vulnerabilities like unsealed cracks or blocked drainage can escalate so quickly, which raises, I think, an important final question for you, the homeowner.
Okay.
Considering that winter weather fluctuates so much, get these wild swings between freezing and thawing.
All the time.
How often should you be actively checking? Checking your gutters, your downspout exits, those window wells, to prevent a small blockage from becoming significant water damage. I mean, literally overnight.
It requires constant vigilance, especially when the weather is volatile. Don't wait until the next major storm hits. If you need a professional inspection to assess your foundation, grade, or waterproofing needs, we're here to help.
That's right.
Contact Icerino today for a free consultation. You can reach our licensed professionals at 647-454-6600. Until next time, stay dry and stay warm.